Hello everyone, welcome to Corpus Christi. This is an amazing solemnity and I hope everyone really enjoys it. When it comes to the Lord's body and blood, soul and divinity in the Eucharist, sometimes there can be some struggles in believing in this beautiful sacrament. And so what really helps me is thinking about things this way, and I know I've said this before, but when it comes to size, God really has nothing to prove, okay? Because God, everything that is, everything that we can imagine, everything in the cosmos, God just spoke into being, okay? God has spoke everything into being, and He upholds it in being. So science is telling us that the cosmos is getting bigger, and we can't even really get satellites past, I think it's Pluto or something. I could be wrong, who knows. But anyway, the point is I always joke that unless we are building a Millennium Falcon that no one knows about, we're really pretty confined to this very tiny little piece of space that we live in. And even within that tiny little piece of space that we know about, we're on this little tiny piece of space dust planet. And then there's us on this planet. What tends to happen is our minds, our brains, the tiny little piece of space dust within this tiny little piece of space dust, which is us on this tiny little piece of space dust planet, right? Although our minds are also immaterial, but anyway, the point is that's we tend to think in terms of this size, of immense size and everything like that, and anything that's bigger is better. Well, like I said, God has nothing to prove, okay? And so how is God going to come to us, this enormous God who spoke everything that is into being and upholds everything? He understands how everything works because He created it, all right? How does this God come to encounter us? And of course we know the number one thing is in the incarnation. God actually became one of us, and the infinite somehow was present in one of us, the Blessed Virgin Mary. The infinite was contained in the finite, which in and of itself is a mystery. And then He became one of us, and He tried to teach us the way, and despite everything that He tried to do, we ended up killing Him. But the good news is that He rose from the dead. And then we have the mystery of the Ascension, where it seems that He left, but He never left, because in the story of Emmaus, the disciples' eyes were opened at Emmaus, where they realized that Jesus would be made present to us in the breaking of the bread. And ever since then, they're celebrating the Mass, the Last Supper. So Jesus is really present in the Eucharist, but from the outside, it just looks like bread and wine. And so that doesn't seem very big to us. It doesn't seem very epic. When we talk about God, it's just like, really? He's there in that little wafer? In that little piece of bread that we receive on Sundays? Well, it's just because God has nothing to prove. And 2,000 years ago, He decided, probably from all of eternity, that He was going to wait patiently for us for the last 2,000 years, in all the gold, silver, whatever boxes that we call tabernacles in all the Catholic churches in all the world. He waits there perfectly still and perfectly patient for us, just to come and say hi, and to say, I need you, Lord, and I will receive you. Okay? And so this is how God reaches all of us, not just the so-called big people, but the poorest of the poor. The Mass can be celebrated anywhere. And so the Eucharist is accessible to anyone at any time, during the Mass, of course. And so this is how God makes Himself available to everyone. For us, we need to believe. We need to say, Credo, I believe. Because this is how Jesus comes to all of us in the very smallest of things. And so we celebrate that on Corpus Christi. We celebrate that the infinite God shows up to us in the most unlikely place, in bread and wine, which is the body and blood of Christ. Actually, it's no longer, I have to always watch myself, it's not bread and wine anymore, it's the body and blood of Christ. So let's remember this Corpus Christi, that when we go to receive Jesus, God is always there with us. And he doesn't just desire to be our buddy, he desires union with us. And he will dwell in us, making us all walking, talking tabernacles. And again, this great mystery that the infinite is going to make his home in us, the finite. And that conforms us to him, so that one day we may see him in heaven, face to face. Thank you very much.